process of making this consult has brought me to places where I needed to search what was happening inside myself and see why these thoughts, emotions, and events matter to me. I've always been interested in exploring violence, the cycles of how and why violence occurs. But I don't think I asked myself why I was curious about violence until my colleague, Shauna Chung, asked me if there was a personal connection to my interest in violence. The conversations about these connections stemmed largely from our discussion of Greg Ulmer's work, which encourages people to look internally for answers to problems that trouble them in the external spaces of their lives. From that conversation, I traced the threads of my interest to a moment when I was 18 and starting college. A classmate and I were debating the death penalty, and they simply said, "How can you believe in the death penalty and believe in grace?" That floored me. This conversation was really where my interest in violence began, because I am still fascinated by my own discovery, which raised hundreds of questions for me. Why had I left the death penalty for so long? Why had I never really thought through it? What other structures hold people in a place of belief in violence? What role does language play in all of that? Those questions are where my consult began. Looking at the problems that persisted in my own personhood for so long led me to explore Jodi's story. What fascinates me the most about Jodi's story is that she firmly held to her belief that capital punishment was not the answer. In the face of the ultimate test, she refused to seek retributive violence. I still don't know what I would do if I was in her position. It's easier for me to say that I'm anti-death penalty when I have never had someone I love viciously murdered. Driving through Jodi's neighborhood was heartbreaking. To see the place where she lived, where she tried to reach people who needed to be mentored and loved. Jodi's story makes me believe that it is possible to choose grace. Her own deeply tragic death also tells us that no answer is easy. Grace is just as hard to execute as revenge. These were really significant lessons for me to learn during the process of this consult, and they made me reflect on the entire process of my research interests in violence.